Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm showing you how I do this to my face, which is my everyday makeup routine. So it's just like a super simple kind of everyday look that doesn't take me very long to do at all. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through and show you how I do it. So just keep watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my foundation on. So I'm using the Beauty Pie Great Skin Foundation, which is in this little glass pot. I am shade Light 300 and I'm going to pop it on this brush here, which is the Real Techniques buffing brush from the Core collection. Like, disclaimer now as well, all of my brushes are dirty. I'm cleaning them this afternoon, so please do not judge me for my dirty brushes. So I'm just going to take one pump of this. I'd normally do like 1.5 to 2, but I just want a really light coverage today. As you can see, I do have a few breakouts and things, but I don't want to kind of load my skin with makeup, so I'm going to pop this on first. I'm just going to buff this in once I've dotted it all round. Okay, so now that's all buffed in, I'm going to go in with my concealer. So I use the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. This is in number 2 Cool Medium. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple of swipes of it on my hand, because this is to go over blemishes and like pigmentation and things. And I don't want it to be dragged all over my face. So popped a couple of bits on there, and I'm going to take this brush, which again is from the Real Techniques Core collection, and it is the pointed foundation brush. I just really like the size of this for like blemishes and things, like using concealer. I don't like using this for my like entire face foundation. I don't really like flat brushes for it, so this is perfect for concealer. So I'm just going to dab a little bit on there and then take it round my problem areas. So my nose is always really bad for it. I always get a lot of redness around here, so I'm going to pat that in. And then just where I've been having my breakouts, just down on my chin, like my jawline. I'm now going to do my second lot of concealer. This is another Beauty Pie product, and it is, oh, it doesn't say on it what it is, but it's like the stick concealer. This is in Fair 100. I use this under my eyes. Now mine's actually broken, so it's a little bit skewy, but it's like a pen, I don't know whether you'd call this like a pencil thing. But I like pop this under my eyes, so just do a couple of lines. It is lighter than my normal foundation and concealer and things. So just pop this under. I then put a little bit down my nose, forehead and chin, and then I'm going to buff that in with this brush, which I mentioned in my March and April favourites, and this is the contour brush, which again is from the Core collection Real Techniques. I'm sure I've used like every brush that comes in that collection, but it's so worth the money. So I'm going to buff this in. So under my eyes, obviously gentle, because it's like such a delicate area. So just a couple of light swipes and then pats, and then down the bridge of my nose, buff it into my forehead and buff it into my chin. Don't actually think the difference of this is showing in the camera, so you're all probably like, Hannah, these are a lot of steps. Why are you doing all this when you don't look any different? But I swear, in the mirror that I'm using down here, it does look different. So then that's like all of my base done. I then go in with a powder just to set everything. I do find that if I don't use a powder, my makeup shifts a lot during the day. So this is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder in transparent. So I'm just going to use this big fluffy brush. This is, I don't know, I got it from Hema in when I went to Belgium a couple of years ago, and it's the Powder Brush 151. You can't buy this in England, but if any of you are watching from like Belgium or anything, this is what I use for my powder. So I'm just going to swirl it in that, and then I always go over the eyes first because there's like the most makeup on there, and then drag it down to my cheeks, jawline and nose, and then a little bit more just to do my forehead. I don't like using a lot of this because I don't like looking cakey. I do find that I need just a little like thin layer to keep everything in place during the day. After powder, I go in with bronzer, which I use as like a bit of a contour. I've used this for years. It's in so many blog posts, and it's the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder, and this is in the shade 720A Sunny. and I've literally used so much of this, but I love it. It's just such a nice colour for my skin tone, and it just works really well as a contour. To apply that, I use an angled brush, so it just looks like this. This is from Avon, and I think it's literally just called an angled brush. So just take a swirl of that, tap it on the top, and then I'm going to go down my cheekbones. So just do it really light, and then anything that's left on the brush I like to take up onto my forehead. And then do the same with the other side. And then I pop a little bit under my jawline and then blend it down my neck. And a tiny little bit just on my nose, either side of where I put that concealer. And then the last step on my face for now is blusher. I'm using the e.l.f. blush that I mentioned again in my last favourites. This is in Mellow Mauve, however you say it, which is this really nice like pinky colour. It's got a bit of shimmer to it. And I'm using this big fluffy brush, which is from number 7, which is the directional powder brush. I'm not sure if you can buy this as a separate brush. I got it as a pack for Christmas a couple of years ago, but I just really like the fluffiness of it. So I'm just going to take a little bit on there and then pop that on the apples of my cheeks, working up to kind of my temples. Okay, so that's it for my face for now. I'm now going to sort out these eyebrows, which are looking nice and sparse compared to a full face of makeup. To do that, I'm using the, I think this is Rimmel, Brow This Way kit. Again, mentioned this in my last favourites. I'm just going to use the powder today because I'm not kind of doing anything where I need it to kind of stay in place. I tend to only use the wax part of it, which is this part, if I'm going on a night out or something. So I'm going to use that with my MAC brush, which is the MAC 266, which is this little tiny angled brush. I love using this for my brows. So I'm just going to dab that in, and then I'm going to I work from like the middle to the end, and then I fill in the front bit. So I'm going to do that now. My brows really need doing as well. They grow at like an insane rate. So I don't think you can see it in the camera, but if you can, I do apologise. So that's one brow done. It literally takes me like 2 minutes to do my brows, but the difference is just insane. It's so worth it. I'm actually, fun fact, having my eyebrows microbladed in a couple of weeks, which is a semi-permanent brow treatment. It's a bit like a tattoo, but they draw the strokes on rather than use like a machine. And I'm really excited about it because it hopefully means then that I don't need to colour my brows in every day. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so that's my brows completely coloured in. I'm sure they look fine on camera, but in person I'm a little bit kind of dark around these edges here. So what I like to do is just kind of buff that out with my finger to make it a little bit kind of less drastic, just because I think it kind of softens the look a little bit. So just buff that out on the corners here so it looks a little bit more natural. So I'm now going to pop a little bit of colour on my eyes. I don't like doing too much colour on my eyes during the day, and this is what I'm currently using, but I do need to change it up because it's quite dark for spring. And it's the MAC Woodwinked eyeshadow, so it's just in this little pot, and it's this gorgeous kind of shimmery bronze colour. I like to pop this on just on an everyday basis because it's so simple. I do need to start adding a little bit more depth to my eyes, but because I'm not really going anywhere today and I do normally just go to work every other day, I do just like to pop a bit of this on. So I'm going to use the Zoeva 220 Luxe Grand Shader to pop that on, which is quite a nice big flat brush. So I'm just going to pop a little bit on there and then add that onto my lid. Now I just like to do it quite messily because I am going to go back in and kind of blend it all out. But as you can see, there is quite a nice difference on those two eyes. There we go, so I've got that on, and as you can see, it's really messy. So I'm going to go in with a blending brush now. I'm hoping this one's clean. So I just use the Morphe, or Morph, however it is, blending brush, which looks like this. It's this nice big fluffy one, and I'm just going to go in and keep blending this until it's all kind of nice and soft and it doesn't look quite as drastic. I love using big fluffy brushes like this because they're so soft on your eyes and they do just do such a good job. There we go, so that's nice and blended out now. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of liquid liner on. I don't wear liquid liner on a daily basis. I find that I don't have the right eye shape to wear it a lot. So I don't do cat eyes or anything. I'm literally just going to add a tiny little bit onto like the top line, is it the waterline? And the liquid liner that I use is the Maybelline New York Master Precise Liquid Liner, which is like a little pointed one. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit. This is running out, so that's one of the reasons why I'm doing such a tiny bit. And for this, I do need to use a little mirror, so please excuse me while I use this. Liquid liner is one of those things I definitely need to practice and do a lot more of. So I'm going to try invest in a few more of these and try do a little bit more liner, because I'm not confident with it at all. Now before I do one of my last steps, which is mascara, I like to make sure I've got my face finished. So I'm going to go in with some highlighter now. I'm using the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle. It's such like a classic highlighter to use, but it's just this gorgeous shimmer. And I'm going to put that on a Morphe brush, which is this big round fluffy one. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and pop it on both cheeks. So I just pop it on the top just so that it kind of shimmers a little bit. And then I pop a little bit down my nose, forehead and chin, so where I did the highlight, and then a tiny little bit just under my eyebrows as well. So now onto mascara. I'm using my trusty favourite, which is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I think everybody loves this. So I'm just going to use this. I'm going to do a couple of coats on my top lashes and then a little bit on the bottom. Again, I don't know if you're going to see a difference with this. I have terrible lashes and I am due an LVL lash treatment, which is the perm, because my lashes are just terrible. So I don't know if you're going to see the difference, but I definitely need this so that I don't look stupid in this mirror and in person with just eye makeup on. Okay, so that's my mascara done. I've done 2 coats on top and just 1 on bottom. And then the very last thing that I'm going to do is add some colour to my lips. And for that I'm using the NYX or NYX, however you want to say it. It's the Soft Matte Lip Cream, and this is in Abu Dhabi, so it's this really nice brown shade. Again, this is something that I need to change up with it being spring. I need to add a bit more colour in. As you can see, it's not very springy at the minute. I'm having to wear like a big baggy jumper today because it's cold. And I've got such like brown eyes and things. Hopefully spring will kick in the UK soon, which will inspire me to use brighter colours. This is on a little applicator, and I'm just going to add like a couple of coats on. I always start with my bottom lip. And there we go, that is everything. I'm going to take my hair down so you can kind of see how I'd wear this on an everyday basis. So there we go, that is my finished look. It's my everyday makeup, and my hair normally just stays like this as well. This is just like my natural curl. So I tend to just leave it like this. And yeah, this is what I'm loving wearing on my face at the minute. Again, I do think it will change as we get more into spring and kind of all the brighter bits. But I do think this is really nice. It's really easy. Super like subtle, and yeah, just really pretty. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, which is all like down in the bottom, and leave a comment for any products that you think I should be using that are more spring coloured, so like lip products and eye products and things, just to kind of let me know what's your favourite kind of things to use at this time of year. So yeah, if you are new, please do subscribe. The button's like down there somewhere, or my links are down there as well for like Twitter and Instagram and my blog. And yeah, I will see you next week with another video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.